Can I have a spotlight, please? Thank you.
Welcome to WrestleReward, the show that looks at whether the wrestle was worth the reward. Clever, right? Today's Spotlight episode travels back to WrestleMania 35 from April 7th, 2019 at MetLife Stadium to look at the Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, the first time a women's tag title was defended on a WrestleMania. You could trace the origins of this match all the way back to the first championship match in Royal Rumble history where the Jumping Bomb Angels won a 2 out of 3 falls match to take home the WWF Women's Tag Team title that was soon abandoned. But for the purposes of this video, we'll fast forward to Christmas Eve 2018 where a Santa Claus who may or may not have been inebriated announced that among his gifts to the WWE Universe, and yes I did die a little saying that, was the long-awaited return of the Women's Tag Team Championship. The belts were unveiled on the January 14th, 2019 episode of Raw during a moment of bliss with Alexa Bliss, shockingly without a giant WWE logo in the middle, a design that the debuting Otis was instantly drawn to. It was also announced that another piece of history would be made when 3 teams from Raw and 3 from SmackDown would face off in the first ever Women's Tag Team Elimination Chamber to crown the inaugural champions. That match was won by the Boston Hug connection of Sasha Banks and Bayley, who'd been vocal on TV and media in the years leading up to this night about one of their biggest dreams being to wear those very belts. Their first set of challengers was the fantastically named Samoan Slaughterhouse of Nia Jax and Tamina, who felt that Sasha and Bayley got lucky by virtue of Nia and Tamina having a target on their back in the chamber. Like she did for the Chamber match, NXT commentator and WWE Hall of Famer Beth joined commentary for this first title defense, and I'm sure nothing at all would come from that. Bayley managed to upset the Samoan squadron by turning a Nia powerbomb into a leverage pin to retain the gold, which Nia and Tamina didn't take kindly to and attacked Bayley and Sasha over, sending Banks flying across Beth's announce table. Beth Phoenix had seen enough and stepped to Tamina, which Nia Jax didn't appreciate, as evidenced by crashing into Beth so hard that her phone hit the floor from the impact. Beth Phoenix's former Divas of Doom tag team partner Natalya tried to make the save, but was put down for her troubles, and it took Lil Nate's Charles Robinson laying down the law to make the onslaught of the Slaughterhouse stop. The following night on Raw, Natalya was set to face Nia with Beth watching her back at ringside, but the Glamazon had no time for watching and jumped in to get her receipt that sent the Samoan Slaughterhouse scrambling. The Divas of Doom crashed an interview with Sasha and Bayley a week later to declare that Beth's passion had been reignited and that she was out for the one prize never available to her during her active career, the Women's Tag Team Championship. Later that night, Sasha faced Natalya, but it was soon overshadowed by Nia distracting Beth so Tamina could materialize out of thin air to send her crashing into the ring post and take out the champions, as we're reminded that nobody is meaner than Tamina, and our triple threat tag team match for WrestleMania was set.
Hey Kayla! You gotta be joking me!
You're right, Billie Kay, I was joking you, because with 3 teams from Raw set to square off at WrestleMania, SmackDown Live's iconic duo Billie Kay and Peyton Royce goaded the Women's Tag Team Champions onto their turf, accusing Sasha and Bayley of ducking them.
It's Tuesday! We're on SmackDown Live! But still no sign of Sasha and Bayley!
The 2 teams squared off a week later where Bayley ate every inch of Billie Kay's boot, and because it's WWE, the champions ate a non-title loss with the IIconics double-teaming to steal the pin on Sasha and stake their claim to WrestleMania. It wasn't all roses for the IIconics though, because after Beth Phoenix channeled her ultimate opportunist at home with a spear through the barricade on Tamina, she finished her return to the ring by glam-slamming Peyton into the mat and picking up the 8-woman tag victory for her team on the final Raw before Mania.
Paycheck.
The former Divas champion Paige, who had recently wrapped up a 2-short run as SmackDown general manager, joined Michael Cole and Renee Young on commentary for the match where the floating 3D aviators in the sky can mean only one thing.
It's boss time!
And also hug time, as Sasha and Bayley arrive with a stage full of buddies, a crowd full of support, and a sky full of pyro too. Our next team didn't get pyro, but they got something even better as out come the winners of this segment's Golden Turtleneck Award for Best Fits of the Match, with the Maleficent one Billie Kay accompanied by her 2-winged angel Peyton Royce, who's beating Sasha at her own tribute game by bringing the heat with an Eddie Guerrero-inspired attire. Nia and Tamina make a nondescript entrance befitting their no-nonsense nature, with Tamina in enough leather that she could probably taste it.
I can taste the leather.
The Divas of Doom round out the field with the ironic twist of teaming up in 2011 to rebel against the traditional definition of what it meant to be a diva, while now proudly wearing that title in an era of women superstars. They weren't alone though, because Bret Hart, who you may not know but is Natalya's uncle, made his way out to accompany them to exactly where they were, staying behind on the stage as Natalya and Beth walked to the ring alone. Perhaps the Hitman was too haunted by the memory of what happened last time he was ringside for Natalya to do it again. The match begins with a lockup from Bayley and Tamina, but Tamina's waited 10 years for a championship and isn't waiting around to grapple as she elbows Bayley down and clears out that half of the ring with Beth shot off the apron, a superkick to her future WrestleMania partner Natalya, and Tamina's former Team Bad partner Sasha getting run up on. That causes a non-Ruby riot in the ring as all the women jump in to get their piece of the Slaughterhouse with Tamina ganged up on and Nia no-selling a dropkick from Sasha. The DoD makes sure Nia feels a sling into the steel stairs on the outside while Bayley introduces Tamina's shoulder into the steel post where Peyton tags herself in. Sasha misses Michael Cole's favorite move, the Meteora, and escapes a pin only to get flattened with a swinging kick from Royce as the IIconics show what they learned in NXT by hitting their post for the hard cam. Billie and Peyton pick up Sasha for an inside-out electric chair drop that connects, but Sasha stops the momentum of the IIconics and Peyton's foot to take her down so Bayley could launch her partner into Royce like a battering ram. Phoenix tags in for her shot at the champs but gets put right down with the same technique. The IIconics recover and attempt to continue the double team wave by suplexing Beth, but the Glamazon uses her Amazon strength to deliver a prime double suplex of her own. Lifelong fan Bayley knows that used to be a finisher, so she breaks up the pin off the heart attack. Bayley also brings down the Banks bridge that Beth and Natalya had built to dole out a stiff forearm that Beth responds to by dishing out one of her own. Bayley recovers though and throws her own partner to a modified La Mystica to set up the submission half of the Banks statement, which Beth impressively breaks by rolling over into hoisting Sasha up. The boss manages to escape the Glam Slam by sending Beth crashing into the turnbuckle where Natalya tags herself in. The wheelbarrow position isn't as lucky for Sasha this time as she slammed onto her partner ahead of Natalya locking in a double sharpshooter to the champs. Bayley grabs Sasha's hand to prevent a tap out, which Tamina helps out with by super kicking Natalya. Nia and Tamina put their heads together to solve their rising Phoenix problem and catch the IIconics attacking from behind to deliver Samoan drops in stereo. The Samoan Slaughterhouse ascends to the top and looks to crush the IIconics into dust, but Beth shoves Nia off the top rope to the apron and floor below. Tamina charges at the Divas of Doom but gets dropped to the floor herself, and Sasha takes advantage of the situation by landing a double Meteora to Beth and Natalya. Bayley scales the ropes where Sasha not so blindly blind tags her as Bayley drops an elbow to Beth while Sasha follows up with her own Eddie tribute of a frog splash but is left in disbelief after a kick out and wondering if she should have copped Perry Saturn's moss-covered three-handled family Gradunza instead. Bayley and Sasha go to end it once and for all with a double team off the top to Beth, but Natalya stops that by picking off Sasha and winding her up to drop her down with a sit-out powerbomb. Beth has Bayley right where she wants her and right where Bayley doesn't want to be, but Billie Kay makes an actual blind tag as Beth lands the mid-rope glam slam to Bayley. Royce rushes in to throw Beth off the pin so her life partner Billie can make the cover, and the girlhood dream has come true for the IIconics, who win the tag team title in front of 83,000 screaming K-Maniacs, dude. The IIconics celebrate with at least one fellow Aussie in the crowd as we see Sasha and Bayley distraught on the arena floor over their dreams being dashed, which thanks to intrepid internet journalism somehow got turned into
Sasha Banks was seen crying at WrestleMania at the locker room floor.
Hey, thanks for watching the Spotlight episode of WrestleReward. If you thought that was good, then get a load of these. I'm pointing at the two videos on the screen right now, but I guess you can't see that, so just use your imagination. And give me a cool tattoo while you're at it. Something sexy.